Based on some of the comments from my previous videos, I think there's a little bit of confusion on why I do the training that I do. So I just thought I'd make a video, and hopefully once you know the context, it'll make a lot more sense why I train this way. So actually, I did train normally for the first 6 years. I started training when I was 13. I did calisthenics, gymnastics, wrestling, and powerlifting. And I got to learning one-arm pull-up, back lever, handstand presses, muscle ups, etc. A lot of good techniques. But I got injured in summer of 2023, and at that point my L4 and L5 disc was kind of busted, so I couldn't really train the way I did before. I couldn't do planches, I couldn't deadlift, I couldn't do squats, and I could basically only bench. So I did 2 years of physical therapy. My first year I saw 3 therapists, and I did directed therapy for that 1 year. For the second year, I took their exercises and kind of did them on my own and tried to go back to deadlifting and squatting, but just with like the bar first, because my logic was really simple. If I can just do the bar and get it with no pain, then I'll be able to progress with higher weight. So how did this play out in practice? In practice, I was not able to get no pain on a 45-pound squat, and the sensitivity to pain had to be improved because I had to gain the proprioception to know when I had no pain, which is not a trivial task actually, because if you spend your whole life on 0.3 out of 10 pain, how do you know what 0 feels like? You might think you're at 0, but you're actually feeling some pain. And while I was training, there were definitely times where I was doing squats, and on average I would say like 0.5 out of 10, that was my pain level. But there were times where I got to near 0, and I was like, I want to reproduce this. So how to reproduce it? I used a little bit of common sense that most people don't use. So I guess it's not that common. The logic is actually quite simple. So what I wanted was knobs that I could turn in my body so I could experiment. Because if I can isolate my traps from my lats, and my lats from my QL from my, I don't know, abs, my abs from my soleus, if I can isolate muscles and create extra tension, like an extra unit of neural drive in one muscle without creating any additional neural drive in any other muscle, I gain the means by which to experiment. I can figure out what configuration of muscle tension I need to get 0 pain. That's common sense actually, but does anyone actually use that common sense? Not really. So regarding my barbell unrack drills that I've been doing, I started those in like May 2025. That's actually when I started training muscle control. At that point, I stopped lifting weights. I was only doing, well, I did 5% of my training as lifting weights. The other 95% was muscle control. The weightlifting itself became a test to see how well I could integrate my muscle control into lifting weights, how well I could remove the pain. So in practice, this meant for the next year after that, and more, because it's past May 2026 now, I'd been doing muscle control and integrating it into my barbell unracks for a whole year and a few months. So I think the hardest part about this was probably the social aspect. People I knew would walk up to me and tell me, hey, what are you doing? Was this progressive deload? It's a lot less than last week. And I'd say I'm working on technique. I try to shoo them away because they wouldn't understand anyway. If I do try to explain, they start, you can tell, they get this look in their eye. Their eyes glaze over and they're like, oh, this guy's being weirdo. Then they stop talking to me. I basically lost all my friends because I had to train this way. But why would I listen to them though, right? They're not the ones responsible for my body. They're not going to pay me money if my spine snaps again like a matchstick. Like if I get 0.5 moving up to a 0.7 in pain every time I add 5 pounds to my squat, they're not able to sense that. I am, right? I had no choice but to just keep training the way I knew would make sense. Anyway, my name is Alf. I do muscle control videos, and I'm going to keep doing this until not only I fix my back, but I actually get strong like I'm supposed to be already. So if you'd like to see that, please drop a like, comment, and follow, all that good stuff. Alright, so bye.